Welcome back to Highway 7. Today we're going to be talking about weapons. I'm super excited that Zach and I are doing our first joint review today. This was a movie that I went and saw opening night, and I immediately texted Zach and told him, you have to go see this movie. We have to talk about this movie together. So this is exciting. This is our first joint review, Zach. I would love to know, first of all, just tell me about how your viewing experience was. Like how many people were in the theater with you and how all that went.
So first of all, that is not the only movie. I feel like every time Walker goes out to a movie, he's like, you have to see this right now. He's just a movie guy. He likes what he likes. My viewing experience was good. There were a lot of people in the theater. We went to a local Cinemark, which is probably my favorite movie theater in Little Rock, to be honest. Mm-hmm. And it was full up, dude. There were actually a lot of people out at the movies. We went on a weeknight, and honestly, like, the movie theater was pretty full.
That's cool. So I went and saw it in IMAX Thursday night, the night it came out. And, you know, it wasn't full by any means, but that's a huge theater, so that's not surprising. But I had like such a good time watching it because everyone there was having such a good time while we were watching it. Like people were laughing. We had a couple people say things out loud that made the rest of the audience laugh, which I thought was fun. What was it like in that sense? Like were people enjoying it? Were people having a good time?
People were definitely engaging with the movie, and there was definitely... spoiler alert, but the scene where they like walk into the house at the end, you could clearly hear somebody just call out white people. Like it was so funny. Like they saw all this stuff and they laughed and they come back, and it was a lot of fun. And it seemed like everybody was engaging with the movie pretty well. I mean, there were scenes where we were all laughing. We heard people gasp. We heard people comment on what was happening at the screen. And I'm gonna be real with you. It might be too early to call it, but the movies are back, man. Like honestly, the first couple times after they opened, going to the movies was kind of honestly really sad. Mm-hmm. But it really felt, when watching Weapons in the movie theater, it felt like the movie theaters are back. Theaters are back.
Yeah, I feel like too we're starting to get like blockbusters that are actually worth like going to see, like Superman and even Fantastic Four recently, and then having those big important movies that a lot of people are going to go see be good, and then having a movie like Weapons be really good and really successful too that isn't like this mega blockbuster, I think is the movies are back. We're so back. And
we're so back.
I think Zach Cregger, so the guy who directed this, I don't know if you know this, Zach, but he's one of the co-founders of Whitest Kids You Know.
Oh yeah, he was in the movie too, right? No, he was in Barbarian.
Yeah, I think he does make a cameo or something in Barbarian, but I don't think he was in Weapons.
Yeah, I am a huge Whitest Kids You Know fan. So
yeah, you're like the perfect age to be.
I was like
a huge Whitest Kids You Know fan.
I definitely was a little too young to be like singing the Hitler rap and stuff, but
well,
do we have to censor that? Do you have to censor the word Hitler?
Yeah, maybe YouTube might not like that.
But yeah, I was interested because I know that a lot of those guys wrote on the show as well. And so when I saw that he did direct this film, I think you had brought it up, said something about it to me, to be honest. Yeah. I was actually really shocked, but I think some of his humor kind of came through. Like they had a really good grasp of like that sort of edgy, it's like edgy absurdity. And I kind of think that like, he took that same vibe and made it into horror almost. Like, yeah, it definitely feels like that.
Yeah, I know. I think what he's so good at, and I think it comes from Whitest Kids You Know and coming from comedy, is just like knowing how to build up to a joke sometimes, like in this movie, but also build up suspense to a scare in this movie. And I think that comes from like understanding comedic timing. And I think that translates really well to horror. Like, I think about specifically the scene where the main character, I can't remember her name, but the teacher, I guess she's the main character, especially in the beginning, but she falls asleep in her car outside of the scary, spooky house. And like that scene is such a good like example of, we see the door like swing open and like that's a beat to start building suspense. Then we see the mom walk out and she's doing this really creepy walk with something in her hands and we don't know what it is. And we see her and like we have that building suspense. And then he has her stop at the window and it's like, oh no, like she's about to open this door and
I
get her.
I thought the main character girl was gonna die. I thought that
Yeah.
she was about to kill her.
I thought that was it. And it's interesting because especially if you had seen, I know you ended up watching Barbarian after seeing Weapons, which I definitely want to get your perspective on that and talk about that a little bit too. But it's like if you'd seen Barbarian beforehand, you're like, yeah, this guy is not afraid to kill someone who's supposed to be the main character, like just kind of out of nowhere in the middle of the movie. But then he has her walk away and it's like, oh, you get that sense of relief. And then you hear the back of the car door open off screen, and it's like, it's just like, I think he understands comedic timing really well, and that's translated to his horror timing as well.
I also think that one thing that he did well that he probably got from Whitest Kids You Know is a lot of really long shots. So I think Whitest Kids You Know, one of the things that made it appealing back in the day is that it probably didn't take a huge budget. And if you watch some of their skits, it is like two people talking in a long shot. You know, they might have an A and B camera or something, but it's like long shots. And there was a lot of times like that scene right there is a long shot. Like it stayed focused on the main character as she walked all the way around the car and stuff like that. And I can't remember any others directly off the top of my head, but there were like a lot of long shots where I was kind of like, this is holding for a minute. Like this is holding for a while.
Yeah, I think about the skit Water Balloons from Whitest Kids You Know, which is like, I think it's literally just two shots. Like the guy selling the water balloons and the people that are buying the water balloons from him. But it's like such an effective way. Like it's such an effective skit, even though it's so simply shot and is just most of the time pretty long takes of people talking or doing silly things. But yeah, so let's talk a little bit about, so you saw Barbarian after. You hadn't seen Barbarian when you went through, and I'm wondering how you feel like, did that affect the way that you think about the movie after watching Barbarian now?
I liked Barbarian a lot, to be honest. I definitely thought that Weapons was better overall. Like it definitely, Barbarian felt like a first movie and Weapons feels like a second movie. It didn't change my perception at all. One thing that I noticed between the two of them, especially like I watched Weapons and then I think 2 or 3 days later watched Barbarian.
Yeah.
And so one thing that I really noticed between the two of them, I really liked the sort of disjointed storytelling. Like Barbarian at the very, like the first 1/3 feels like a whole different movie, and then it like that part ends and we were like, that was a quick movie. Like that was over so fast, and then it almost transitions into like what is almost essentially a second movie. And it felt that way a lot in Weapons as well, with all the different viewpoints. I really liked how everything like came together. And so I guess just seeing like, I don't know, he likes to use like different viewpoints and stuff like that to tell a story. I really did like how that was sort of a through line in both movies.
Yeah, I think it's effective because we get to focus on different characters and really see them for a good amount of time that you don't always get from other movies. And I think Weapons, I think steps it up, because in Barbarian we get that change and it's like then we kind of go to a different story for a little bit. And I think this movie's great because we get to see how all these people's stories intersect and interact with each other. And so the whole time you're thinking about, like, while you're watching someone else doing something on screen, you also know something else was happening with this other character that we've already seen in the past. And I think that was a really effective way for this movie to work. And I think especially for a horror movie, it just made it that much more like building suspense through that, I think was really smart. I have to say, so Savannah and I watched Barbarian in theaters, and it was super fun, same kind of vibe as Weapons. People are laughing, having a good time. But in the scene where kind of like the first kill of the movie, and it's very jarring and it's very
that was brutal,
violent. Yeah, super brutal. And then it hard cuts to like Justin Long driving on the beat, like in this beautiful scenery. And I can't remember the song that's playing, but some super cheery, like happy song.
He's like, I'm on the top of the world and stuff.
Yeah, like 2 people in the theater got up and left and didn't come back when we saw it. When we watched Barbarian, and
that's
I
wild.
just always think about that. Yeah,
we were definitely confused because I don't think it hard cuts. I think it like fades to black. Like she's captured or something, and it fades to black, and I was like, oh, it's just one of those where like it ends with the bad ending, and then it does do like it fades to black, and then there's like a hard cut, I believe, to Justin Long, and we were like, is this like, I thought that maybe it had auto played. I think we watched it on Amazon Prime. It's like, did this auto play right after or what? But then I remember Justin Long is in Weapons as well.
Yeah, he makes like a little cameo. When that happened, when that happened in our theater, like there was a big like, oh no, like a big. Everyone thought, I think he was going to play a bigger role than he actually did, but.
I definitely, somebody that I went with it during Weapons leaned over and was like, was that Justin Long? It had, okay, who else was in the cast? There was the main dad. His kid was named Matthew.
Josh Brolin.
Yeah. And then
who apparently is like 5'8", which is awesome. That means we're taller than him.
Short Kings, baby.
Yeah.
He had to find his son.
I would little bro him, I think, if I ever met him.
I'm about to little bro you. There was one other person that I was really shocked. I can't remember who it was. Who was your favorite storyline in Weapons?
I really like the perspective of the dad. I think that emotionally, that's the most interesting one to me, because I think that conversation that he has with his kid during like the dream sequence he had, I think there's a really good scare there, which I really like. But I think that conversation that he has with his son just was, I mean, it was very emotional. It was very deep, and I just really enjoyed. So I enjoyed his storyline, but I also, I mean, I think the kid at the end, Alex's storyline, is probably the most interesting. And I do wonder what cashier at the grocery store saw this little child buy like 40 cans of soup every day and wasn't like questioning what was happening.
They don't get paid enough to ask questions.
That's
Say
true,
it's not my
true.
business.
What about you? What was your favorite storyline?
I think I like the cop the best, just to be honest, because like I kept being like, I think in the woman's story, and whenever they sleep together or something, I don't think we're kind of shielded to like how shitty he really is.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he really mentions. At first he says he's not going to drink, but he doesn't say that he's like in AA or anything like that. But then once we see everything from his point of view, it's like, wow, this guy is a really big piece of shit. And he's also dating his boss's daughter, and he's cheating on her, and he's driving drunk while being a cop, and he abuses someone. And so like, I just kept being like, oh, well, it can't get any worse than that. Oh, well, it can't get any worse than that. Oh, well, it can't get, like every time I thought that, okay, this is as bad as he's going to get, it got worse and worse and worse.
Yeah. And I think that speaks to kind of what we're talking about with Zach Cregger coming from like comedy and Whitest Kids You Know. Like, it does get to the point where like this cop is just so terrible, it's absurd. Like, it's just, and you're almost like happy that he kind of gets got by the witch at the end. Like, you're like, okay, I'm not mad about this.
I mean, if they would have changed the music, that part could have probably been honestly like a comedy bit.
Oh yeah, I mean, the way Josh Brolin was throwing around the other guy was so funny.
What is up with these like sketch comedy guys going into horror and being good? Because first we have Jordan Peele, so good, and now we got Zach Cregger. Who's gonna be the next one? Dave Chappelle? We're gonna get a Dave Chappelle horror movie?
He could probably make a good one. I would bet he could. I think I think it just translates really well. Like I was talking about, I think these sketch comedy shows too, they're like most of the time pretty scrappy with their budgets, and they do a lot with a little. And so I think that the directors learn how to, areas they can save money, but then they also understand timing really well. Because I think comedic timing is probably the hardest timing over video to just understand. And so they have that, and I think that it just really translates really well to
that's something I wanted to comment on as well, is that like the budget for this movie probably, I don't know, I didn't look it up, but it could have been super big. But it kind of seems like everything these days is like CGI, animated, like all this stuff. And I mean, really, the most expensive part of this movie was probably the effects where like people were vomiting out the black blood. I mean, what really, I mean, maybe the giant rifle above the house.
Yeah. It has a $38 million budget, and I think it's already made almost $150 million. So
I mean, we could be witnessing also the comeback of the medium like budget movie. Like that's kind of middle of the. I mean, like Marvel movies have like $1 billion budgets now. I would say indie film is like 100K. This is kind of like a solid middle ground. It sounds like. I mean, 38 million is still a crazy amount of money, but
Yeah.
as far as
But for a
movies
movie,
go,
yeah, I mean, yeah, it is definitely not
Are we back?
huge budget movie. We might be. We might be. But yeah, I think it's interesting, and I think that yeah, this is not just a huge budget, and they use the money effectively, and it's really good. And like you said, there's not a ton of VFX or anything, but they also didn't cut any corners either on the stuff they did
Yeah.
do, because I think like I don't know, like Aunt Gladys was so scary and so effective, and there's nothing like just inherently like I guess there's nothing like inherently scary about her. Like she's just an old woman, but she is so scary, and I think that's another thing. So that's the question I want to ask you. What do you think? Like, what to you was the scariest part of this movie?
I think probably the ending sequence where they're chasing the kid around the house, because I really did think at that moment that like everything was pretty much lost, especially when his parents are like punching through the door and stuff. That was probably the scariest moment to me of the whole movie. Just something uneasy too about like the way that they were moving and acting and stuff. Like all those people, they had to take lessons in how to act that creepy.
For sure.
And it definitely paid off because they were freaking me out.
I think that was cool, like because it was so specific, like to this movie, the way that the people acted, like they weren't. I don't know, like the way they ran, obviously, you know, from it was on the trailer and all the posters and stuff, but also the way they acted, the way that they look, the way that they move around, even
when they kind of like did like the walk like this.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like-
exactly.
I told Brittany after the movie, I was like, they had to take a class on walk. Like all the people who had to walk like that in the movie, they all had to walk like that, like similarly. And so
Yeah.
there was one day in like pre-production where they rounded everybody up and somebody had to like figure out the walk. And that's just funny
Yeah.
to me. Like, imagine being that guy. That's your job.
Yeah. And I think but it's effective and it worked, and it's obvious like they spent time thinking about those things, and I think that that's like why this movie works, is because there's obviously was a lot of time put into thinking about even the little things like that, like the way they walk, the way they run, the way they look and move.
Yeah.
And
Well, that goes
I
back to
think it's-
doing more with less budget. I mean, that's
Yeah.
something that didn't cost them probably any money. I mean, obviously they're paying for people to be there, but like
yeah.
it's a low budget way. And it was uneasy. Like they were walking just enough for it to be like, oh, they're walking, but then they're walking just enough weird for me to be like, okay, this is kind of freaking me out a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. So let's move a little bit I want to talk about some specifics. We kind of just been talking about general, jumping topic to topic, but I want to talk about a couple specific things that I know we want to talk about. So let's talk about the cinematography. I also want to talk about, because we're both editors in our daily lives. And so I want to talk about the editing too, because I do think that this movie, particularly the editing, deserves to be talked about, because I think it works so well with the cinematography. But I would love to hear what you thought about the cinematography of this movie.
Talking about the cinematography and the editing, first off, the first thing I think about, I know that we've already mentioned it, but the scene in the car where she falls asleep, I noticed there were a bunch of match cuts, which I really like. Like she's in the car and the camera's in the same place, and then like it cuts to night and it's like camera's in the exact same spot. It's just completely night now. I love a lot of that. One thing that I noticed in Weapons, which I noticed even more in Barbarian, lots of really good camera movement. They were not afraid to like get the camera off the sticks. And I thought that was super cool. One of my favorite scenes, I believe it's when the druggie is like trying to open the door to the scary house from the inside.
Yeah.
He's being chased or something like that. And the camera is like attached to the door on a rig, like moving back and forth as he's pulling it. They experimented a lot, and I'm going to be real, I think it paid off. Like, I think everything looked really good.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And there's another scene that comes to mind where they do a unique kind of camera angle like that. I think it was with the police officer, and he had his shotgun out against that guy.
And they had it
a
mounted.
camera like on the gun, and it was really cool. And yeah, I think the cinematography is great. I think one thing I love, we talked about the long takes a little bit, but I think that the way that they use the long takes in this movie is so good that they really use them. There's a decent amount of them in the movie, but they use them in the right places, you know, like they use them to build that tension. And so, like we talked about the scene in the car, I think the scene where she comes back, Julia Gardner, the teacher, comes back into the liquor store for the second time, and there's this like out of focus, just like person following her.
That was a really good shot.
Yeah, really good. A long shot just following her. We see this person that we don't know who it is, just kind of like approaching her, slowly gaining on her. That was a great shot. The shot of the principal running towards them while they're outside the gas station, like they're kind of having their conversation, and he's like just in the background, like just slowly getting closer and closer to them, was great. And then that whole fight too, I think, is all one like where he's getting her and she eventually gets out from under the car and stuff.
They show it multiple times from different angles. Like they show it once from hers and once from Josh Brolin's point of view.
Yeah, and
which
so
was super cool too.
Yeah, I think that was great, and I think that's where that story, like the way they structure the story, works so well, is when we get to see that kind of stuff. But I wanted to talk about the editing because I feel like whoever edited this just understood the assignment so well. And I think that comes from Zach Kreger and the cinematographer, probably having conversations with them and just knowing, like, I can't think of a time in the movie where I'm like, I wish this cut was a little sooner. I wish it was a little later. Like, it just felt all the timing felt so on and so good. And that is credit to whoever edited this movie.
Nice. I was going to see who edited Whitest Kids You Know. I was trying to see if I was just wondering if they worked with the same guy. Let's look up who or person who edited Weapons.
Yeah, let's give him a shout out because I think
Joe Murphy.
Joe Murphy did a great job, and I think it's not often I think about editing, and that's when I'm watching a movie, and that's usually a good thing. Like that's usually good editing when you're not thinking about it, but it just like was so perfect in this movie that I couldn't help but point it out. So
yeah, I think also it just helps whenever the director and the editor are on the same page, like visually, stylistically. At this point, we haven't released it yet, but our new short film, Walter, our director of photography, took a lot of risks, and there's Ted Word right there.
Yeah, he's making an appearance.
But I also understood the assignment as the editor, and so I think that like when you have people in sync, it kind of like helps a lot. And I feel like it was clear that they were in sync. Either they had like a really good script supervisor who made some good notes, or whether they had like some post-production meetings, maybe even the director was able to like comment on the cut.
Yeah.
Because I know that does happen in comedy as well. One of my favorite shows, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, in the beginning, they did a lot of the editing, or at least like helped cut it together. And I would be surprised if it wasn't the same way for Whitest Kids You Know. That's why I was trying to look and see like who edited it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a benefit. Like, and yeah, I mean, to shout out our film that will come out on Highway 7 at some point in the near future, probably. I think that when you have, like, if there are 3 people on a set who have to be on the same page, it is the director, the DP, and the editor. And I think if those 3 people are on the same page, then everything else is going to go so smoothly, and the movie is going to be good. Like, and that's such a valuable thing. You can definitely tell just in this movie that they were all on the same page. They all worked closely together, and they understood. Another thing I want to talk about this movie is the score. I felt like the music in this movie was great. I've even seen. I would love to get your thoughts on the intro to the movie though, because I've seen a few people talk about and claim that. So there's this. I think it's a George Harrison song playing in the beginning while it's like we're seeing the kids run away and stuff. And I've seen some people complain about that and say it was a bad choice to play that song. So I'd be curious to hear what you thought about that.
I don't know. I like the contrasting because it is like the kids running out of their houses, correct? That you're talking about?
Yeah, when there's like the voiceover and the kids are running out, and
I think that it kind of like, I think that the music is kind of hinting at the fact that like they're not fully in control of themselves, if that makes sense. So like they are being bewitched or something like that is what I got from it. So first of all, people will complain about anything,
yeah,
especially art critics, if that's what we want to call them. But I think that the music being like that gives a good like indication that they don't really know what they're doing, or like they're being bewitched or something. Because if they really knew what was going on, maybe it'd be horror music or something like that. But to me, it kind of seems like they're in a different place when they're running away. Like they don't know what's happening.
yeah, yeah. I definitely agree. I think it was a great choice. I think sometimes people, especially, not to like be that guy, but people who only watch American movies really just want like, they don't like it when you start bending genres and doing a lot kind of different things. And I think that scene sets the tone for the movie, because the movie's not just a horror movie. Like, I think calling that is a disservice. I think it's a comedy movie. There's a lot of good drama in here as well, especially when we get to Alex and about his experience. And so I think that scene that just sets the tone for the rest of the movie. And so I think that people that just wanted it to be like way creepier sounding or something just aren't understanding what the movie is trying to do.
People just like to complain. I thought it was good. I didn't think that there was anything wrong with the opening sequence. I do think, like I said, that it lends to the fact that they're not in control. They don't know what they're doing, or maybe a more horrific tone would make it seem like they have more of their faculties, or I don't know. I like genre bending though. Like, I really enjoy how it was both Weapons and Barbarian were like partially like relationship drama and like family stuff, and then horror and comedy.
Yeah. No, I mean, I do too. I think that's the best. The best movies got to have a little bit of a few different things sprinkled throughout. But let's move and talk about some of the performances in this movie, because I thought, it's honestly, when I first saw the movie, I thought no performance really stuck out to me. But then the more I think about it, I think it's just because they were all so spot on. Like, there wasn't anyone that just stuck out where I'm like, oh, they did an amazing job. But I think it's because everyone just played their role so well. So I'd be curious to hear what you think.
I think there was no clear star of the cast. I think that was really good. I think that it was written that way because, I mean, technically we have, 4 main characters? It does 4 different stories or 5 different stories?
I'm not sure.
Nobody really felt like they dominated the movie, and mostly everybody felt believable. I think that's one thing that made it, like, there's no real standout, but they all were good. I guess I didn't feel like I wasn't watching something and being like, they're a movie star. It felt more believable to me. And I think that's why it worked, to be honest. It's like, I mean, imagine that movie with The Rock being the dad or something. It's like, it wouldn't work because he's too busy being The Rock. But I don't think that like anybody else was trying too hard to be a star. They were trying harder to be authentic. And I think it worked. I think it came across pretty good.
Yeah, well, and I don't know if you know this. So originally, Josh Brolin's character was supposed to be Pedro Pascal. Like, he was cast in that role, and he had to drop out for some, I think, scheduling conflict with one of the other
Fantastic
1,000
Four,
movies
bro.
or something. Yeah, but I honestly think that was a blessing in disguise, because I love Pedro Pascal. I've enjoyed all his performances I've seen, but I do think that Josh Brolin, just like, that role was perfect for him and so great for him.
It felt real. I definitely, like you were saying earlier, that it was the most emotional story, and I really felt for him, and like seeing how his marriage is like kind of falling apart, his life is falling apart because he's so focused on like finding out what happened to his kid. And then when he even like reaches out and extends grace to the teacher, like after being so mad at her for so long, I thought he had a great arc, honestly. Yeah. And he got his son back.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's one of those things, it like seeing someone who is probably like more of like a man's man, kind of a tough guy. I mean, he like has this construction business, and seeing him like have to deal with this huge, I mean, this just huge emotional thing and losing his son and being so focused on finding him, but then seeing too in that moment, like, because we kind of see him before we get to his storyline, we just see this guy being an asshole. That's like all we see.
Yeah.
And then to immediately, like, kind of one of the first things we see, or so we see a little bit, and then we see him have this moment with his son in his dream. That's this really emotional moment where he shows like he has regrets for like the way he's been and the way he's acted. I think was just a great choice to immediately. Sorry.
He was saying, "I'm so sorry." He kept saying, "I'm so sorry. I never said it. I'm so sorry. I never said it. I love you. I love you. I love you."
Yeah.
And I thought that was really powerful. And I think it does kind of like, I like how you said that traditional man's man, because I mean, it's also kind of a warning story. You never know when something's going to happen. I mean, obviously, hopefully your kid doesn't just run into the house in the middle of the night, but
yeah.
If you only got so long to say it, bro, you got to say it while you can.
Yeah. And I think that was just I think that was a perfect storyline. I think Josh Brolin did a great job bringing that across and being that man's man, but then having his emotional side after experiencing what he did with his son. And yeah, so let's bring this to a close. We've been talking for 32 minutes already. That's crazy. But let's
give two white guys a mic. Shit pops
put a movie
off.
in front of them. Yeah. Let's give this thing a rating. So what would you rate Weapons, you think? Let's do 1 to 10. I like 1 to 10 better than 5 stars.
It's so hard. I would say maybe like a 8.5 or a 9. I think Weapons is one of my favorite movies this year. I love weird, quirky stuff, and I love horror that isn't just straight horror. So this was honestly a really good pick for me.
Yeah, I agree. I would give it a 9 out of 10, I think. Really, my only complaint, this is the only complaint I have, and I know it's funny even after saying, like, I like the beginning and think the song was a good choice. The only complaint I have is it was just a very tiny bit slow at the beginning, but then it picked up and it was great, and I wasn't even thinking about that halfway through the movie. But yeah, so 9 out of 10 for me. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to see anything Zach Cregger makes at the movies. Like anything he makes, I will be seeing at the movies until he's not making movies anymore. I mean, I've had the 2 movies I've seen by him, I've had such a good time. And his next movie is supposed to be a Resident Evil movie. So I'm really interested to see
That'd be cool.
How he does that and where he takes that story. But yeah, I think that's it. I
love his name too.
Weapons.
He's got an awesome name.
Got a good name, Zach. A powerful, strong, handsome
strong, handsome name. Yes.
Yeah.
Destined for greatness, with that name.
For sure. All right. Well, that's it from us about Weapons. I hope you guys enjoyed. And we want to say thanks for all the support on my Eddington video. The comments, everyone agreed with me. Everyone thought I was right.
That's the only reason why you liked it.
I didn't say anything wrong in the video. People commented on how like they were building us up for the amount of subscribers we have in the comments. It was awesome. It was a great, fun comment section to read.
It's always fun being an editor and people comment on the editing like, wow, I thought this channel had a lot more subs based on just the editing. And I'm like, well, thank you. But...
Well, no one was doing that in the Eddington video. I was being sarcastic. They were not. No one agreed with.
I don't read the comments on Highway 7.
No, there were people that agreed with me. There were people that disagreed with me, and I hope that we have the same in this comment section. So tell us where we're wrong. Tell us where we're right. Tell us how many subscribers we have and how stupid we are for having that many. And yeah, we've got August 30th. We have a screening of our short film, Have a Nice Day, that we made for the 48-Hour Film Festival. So this is going to come out before that. So if you want to come, if you're around Little Rock, Arkansas, come and watch that. You can see it before it goes up on the YouTube channel.
Do we want to say what we did real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Zach.
I edited it, and then I was a lead writer along with our main actress, Fallon.
Yeah.
And then Walker directed it.
Yeah. And we had a great time. We had a lot of fun. This year, we did this last year. That was and we posted that video on our channel, Squatter. And this year, I think we made something better. I think we did a really good job last year, but I think our team really found their footing this year. I think that we brought back mostly the same people, added a couple people, and we just had so much fun doing it. We're gonna definitely make videos talking about it more in the future once we are able to release it. But yeah, so we've got that coming up, and I'm gonna watch the Ice Cube War of the Worlds movie this week, and I think I'm gonna make a video about that afterwards. I cannot wait to see that and talk about it. So
In the theater?
no, well, it came out on Amazon Prime. Have you not seen anything about this? It's like
I've seen people memeing on it, but I was like, oh, I guess this is just a thing like that exists now.
yeah, yeah, it has like a 3% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's
Oh,
really
yeah.
terrible, and so I think I'm gonna watch it this week, and I will probably want to talk about it.
I don't know. I'm probably gonna watch K-pop Demon Hunters because I've been seeing a lot about it and I want to watch it.
You should watch it and talk about it on the channel.
Okay, I'll do it.
All right, that's it. So next two videos, Ice Cube War of the Worlds and K-pop Demon Hunters.
K-pop
The only
Demon
place
Hunters.
on YouTube you can get that kind of variety is on this channel right here with us.
All right, well, thanks for watching, and until next time, please subscribe so that people don't talk as much trash in the comments to Walker. It really hurts his feelings.
I read
Okay.
them all. Bye.
Okay, bye.